Good afternoon and welcome to the Happy Half Hour. I'm Leigh Kubin.
And I'm Sandra Priestley. Welcome to our podcast. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
I am drinking from my Driven by Gratitude mug.
I like it.
I know, I'm just drinking coffee. What are you
So
drinking today?
I'm switching it up and I'm doing some mandarin orange water.
Oh, well, it is earlier today.
It
So,
is earlier today and I am at my office and I've got a client coming in as soon as we're done. So I
mm,
figure water is about my speed.
yeah, yeah.
I could have done some coffee, but I've really already had coffee today. So what an amazing week this has been. I got a surprise. My son flew in from Japan.
I saw that.
Uh-huh. And
Oh,
he was able to come to my ribbon cutting, which was beautiful. Like it was an amazing turnout. I
yeah.
just felt so loved. But a few days before he arrives, a box shows up. And Paul told me that's for Logan. So I
Oh,
didn't touch the box, nor did I look at the box. Well, the day that Logan was coming in, Paul goes, "Oh, that's not to Logan, that's from Logan, and it's to you." And I'm like, "Well, I'll just wait to open it until he gets here." So I opened it, and he brought me this beautiful Buddha. He went to a Buddhist temple and got me this Buddha, and he took a picture of him standing in front of it in Japan.
oh,
Like
cool.
the one that's there. I mean, it is enormous. I don't know if you can
Wow.
tell, but I told him, I said, you need to send me that picture so I can print it.
What is it made of? What
Some
is it?
kind of metal. It's heavy.
Okay.
And it says in here, not rotted by rain, nor burned by fires, exposed to all elements, the Kamkura Buddha forever the same. And
Perfect.
what that meant to me was that I'm exposed to all sorts of things. And
Mhm.
I always make it through unscathed. And he said, that's why I got it for you, Mom.
Aw, I
So
love
it was
it. He's so
super,
thoughtful.
I know. Yeah. No, he comes up with some good stuff.
Yeah.
But we're enjoying them and I'm enjoying my office and all of the exciting things going on.
Hmm.
Just
And how are your clients loving your office?
oh my gosh.
Really?
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because I cannot tell you how many people want the chair.
Really?
It is so comfortable and it lays flat back.
Oh, nice.
So, like some people like to sit up, some people like to just lay back a little bit, and some people like all the way
Very,
all the way out.
very flat. Yeah, yeah.
But everyone is just like, where can I get one of these chairs?
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Even just that, right? You want people to be comfortable, but it's hard to find. I don't know. For me, I'm like I could go and sit in 1,000 chairs, just trying to figure out which one is the perfect chair.
You know, I saw this chair, I sat in it, I reclined in it, and I was like, oh, this is the chair.
I don't know. It's so fun though when things just come together. You know it's perfect. You know when it's like it can't be this easy, you know to trust it because it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're led to it. I love
That's not
that.
what we're taught.
No, no, we are not taught that. We are taught almost like, to hold on because the next best thing is coming.
Too good to be true, it probably is. Is that how they say it?
Yeah, exactly. If
Um,
it's easy, it's not, yeah, it can't be that easy. Hmm.
and what do we walk away from and miss out on?
Right?
Because,
Okay, I gotta tell you, I'm reading this, The Let Them Theory with
yes.
Mel Robbins. And I'm not a reader, but I am reading on my iPad, the Kindle app with open dyslexic font. So it's going fairly fast. I had this huge epiphany. I have so much to say, but I had this huge epiphany. So, Mel Robbins, her thing is that she loves to take complex ideas
Mhm.
and make them super simple. So, she started out $800,000 in debt, She was crushed under this amount of debt. She was working for I can't remember what it's called in the US, but like she was legal aid lawyer,
Okay.
uh,
Oh,
and just not able to get herself out of this amount of debt in her family. And so she was just crushed and couldn't get out of bed. She watched a rocket launch and she went, could it be this easy? Just say to me 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and get out of bed. And so that's sort of her thing, is that she focuses on, she takes like a complex situation and she just makes it super simple. So this let them theory, reading the book was so eye-opening to me in so many ways.
mhm.
One of the ways was I went, so she talks about, let people do be whoever they are,
Yeah,
and then decide, once you let them and stop controlling them, once you let them be who they are, then you can decide how you'll react.
yeah,
And I went, oh, wait a minute. This is not fucking revolutionary. This is the serenity prayer.
yeah,
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, let them. Courage to change the things I can, let me, which is the second part of her theory, let them, let me, and wisdom to know the difference. Oh, okay. Mel Robbins.
yeah.
Like this is like ridiculously simple. And people are tattooing let them all over themselves. Like, and she gets them all the time. Anyway,
Love
what
it.
I found fascinating in reading this book was how real and vulnerable she was with her inability to let them in some ways.
Oh,
Like why she gives real examples that are so real you can feel them.
hmm,
So one of the examples she gave was, so she's in this airplane and I think she was going to do a speech somewhere and she couldn't be sick, but there was a guy in the back behind her who was coughing with an open mouth. She was losing her shit in her mind. She was turning around. So she wasn't letting him do whatever he wanted to do, right?
well, he was doing it anyway.
He was going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So she was wanting to control him, stop him from doing this. And she's like, this idiot, like she's talking about, I would be mortified if I was the guy that was sitting behind Mel Robbins on this plane and I read her book. But what is this idiot doing? Like, why, surely he knows to close his mouth and cover his mouth. And she was glaring at him between the seats. And she tells this like very visual story about how angry she got because of someone else's actions
Mhm.
and how she had to implement the let them theory. Like she realized there was probably nothing she could do. I mean, clearly he has to cough. So she went through this let him, like, so stop trying to control him, stop getting angry, like let him do whatever he does, feel that emotion. And we know that true emotion without feeding it with our thoughts only lasts 90 seconds.
Yeah.
So she let him do what he like, let that go, felt the emotion. And then the let me part about it is, what do I do now? What are my options? And coming from a place of peace, of calm, not emotionally reactive, but a place of peace. And so she kind of goes through, like, she could talk to the flight attendant and she could say, could you like move me? Could you ask him to cover his mouth? But that might not control him. She could continue to glare at him through the seat, but that's not going to work. She could talk to him and ask him to cover his mouth. I think she actually did do that. And in the end, she realized there is nothing that she can do to stop this. So she ended up she put her shirt over top of her, or her coat over top of her mouth, and she put her earpods in so that she couldn't hear. and she just trusted she would be fine.
Mhm. That's what you
And
have
it
to do.
was the more emotionally regulated response. The problem is when we believe that someone else isn't doing what we want them to do and we lose our shit over
Oh,
it. You know?
I have a hypnotherapy client that came in last week, and she's an older lady that's very set in her ways and has come to me just to help soften some of that. She was talking about traffic on the way home and how she almost missed an appointment because they have part of 35 shut down, and these stupid, inconsiderate drivers, they don't get in the line where
Yeah.
the line starts. They just drive up and hop over, and they think they're better than everybody else, and they think they're
Right.
just going on and on. And I said, okay,
Massive amount of judgment. Yes.
but she's losing her mind. And I said, well, did you make it to your appointment on time? Yeah, I did. Okay. So let's back up. What happened before you got on the road? Oh, I was at work with the same people. All the people I work with are incompetent. I don't know what they would do without me. And they take these cigarette breaks and they get 15 minutes like 4 times a day. That means I don't have enough time to eat because I'm covering for them so they can go smoke. And I said, well, why don't you take cigarette breaks?
Yeah. Just don't smoke. Yeah.
So you don't have to have a cigarette for a cigarette break. Like,
Yeah.
well, I'm not going to do that and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I said, I want you to notice the connection between what was going on at work and what was going on the way home. Do you see the connection? And she said, I do. Everybody stupidly. And she has a deep rooted belief that there is one way to be on this planet
Yeah.
and that we are all supposed to be the same. We all need the same color hair. Now, if you're born a blonde and I'm born a brunette, that's fine. But we should not be coloring our hair.
Oh,
There are to be no tattoos. I think makeup's okay. But you don't drink caffeine, you don't drink alcohol, you don't like, there is a certain way to live your life,
right.
and there is only one right way. And so I kind of throw things in
Mhm.
to her to just to cause her to think a little bit. She is in a fixed mindset. And when
Well,
we live there, oh,
yeah.
it's an awful place because we don't have control over
And
any of them.
I mean, I'm going back to Don Miguel here, right? I mean, just because you believe it doesn't make it true. It's only true for you.
Yeah,
And like, who's to say it's true for you and their truth is true for them?
yeah.
And that's it. Like, and so I always think I could be wrong.
It's
I mean,
because we could.
we could
Yeah,
totally could be wrong.
yeah,
I mean, I don't like to admit it sometimes, but I literally think I could be wrong.
yeah,
I mean, and I know what I believe to be true because I've got the experiences and the skills and everything that I believe it because it's the answer for me. But that doesn't mean that I can't shift my thoughts later.
well, as you learn new information.
Right. I mean, I did not anticipate to go here, but I had a person that I really respect question the way that I journal. And so when I have negative, I mean, I just do it as like a subconscious reprogram. I do a number of different ways that I journal. Sometimes it's like what do I want? Like sometimes it's visualization. Sometimes it's like, leaning in, feeling all of the things that I want to feel. And sometimes I know that my subconscious mind has some fucked up things it's saying to me, right?
Yeah.
Like I know that the stuff I'm saying is not helpful. And so the process that I have been doing for several years now is to write out all my shitty thoughts
Hmm.
and then say, I release this all now and I choose to believe. And then I shift it to be positive thoughts.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like acknowledging those shitty thoughts that I have, but releasing them. Like everything is intention. But this person had said, I cannot write out my shitty thoughts because if I do, then they stay in my aura.
Okay.
And I see this is where I'm at, right? I felt wildly defensive of my journaling practice. And I thought, interesting that I would be this violently angry. Like, why am I holding on to this? Like, so she believes what she believes, and I believe what I believe, and we can both be right for each other, like for ourselves, right? But I thought, wow, the fact that I have this response to it is interesting because I am defending it to the nines. I mean, like really,
But
we were toe to toe.
for her to have that belief, if she were to journal that way with that belief, it would go terribly wrong for her. Can't
Yes,
journal that way.
exactly. And for me, I felt like I feel like it's acknowledging I have crappy thoughts,
Yeah.
but I'm telling the universe I release them.
Mhm.
Like I feel so much more into the I release this all now.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it does release and I feel better because of it. So for me, this is just and I also think like if you want to get into journaling, I think journaling is amazing and I used to avoid it. But if you want to start journaling, don't journal some a way that doesn't feel good to you. This is why I have journaling strategies, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, it was so interesting because I just thought, whoa, I didn't anticipate. I thought that I was fairly like I know what I believe and I know why I believe it and I can defend it. It could be my ex parole officer in me. But interesting that I would be so wildly defensive of it
Mhm.
and, like very strict in my thinking
Yeah.
or as relaxed as I would perceive me to be.
But those things that pop up are opportunities
Yeah.
for us to check ourselves because they do come up and they like I'll get surprised sometimes like, oh, where did that come from?
Right.
What is that about? Because I didn't anticipate it at all.
So interesting. Yeah, I just felt well, I mean, if we look back though, too, right? Don Miguel says in the Four Agreements that we believe something because we believe it until something challenges us,
Yeah.
and then we get to kind of like roll it around and figure out, do I still believe this? Do I want to take on a different belief? Do I feel like what I've believed all along was wrong now? For me, I can shift it.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's kind of where I was in my process of shit. She's shitting on my process here. Now I got a little ego involved.
Personal.
And then I thought, what do I need to do here? And so her belief was you should only write negative things on the full moon because that's the day that you release them.
Okay.
Like I can't wait between full moons. Like
I would have notebook papers.
and then you should burn it. Like you shouldn't have it, you should burn it. And feng shui wise, I
I would
get,
have to burn it if I wrote down negative stuff.
would you?
Well, like my fuck you letters that I wrote,
Oh yeah. I forgot
to
about this.
adults in my life. Do you remember when I did that?
I do.
I mean, it was shortly after we started this, but I was proud of them. I was so proud of them.
Yeah.
And I read them to Paul. That's how proud I was. And he said, honey, do you realize if things had not happened the way that they did, we would not be together? We would
Mm,
not be here with our kids. Where would you be? What would you be? Who would you be?
right.
Oh, they did me the best favor.
Uh-huh.
Like what they did was a gift. So then
Right.
I had to do a follow-up letter. Because the first one was just like, fuck you all.
Thank you.
Like,
Yeah.
this is what you did. And I know that I did these things, but you were the adult and blah, 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 blah. And you should be ashamed of you.
At the same time, like, so here's me defending that, right? At the same time, if we have those thoughts that are going on, like our conscious mind, my conscious mind would hear Paul. My conscious mind would go, yeah, okay, I get it. You're right. Absolutely. I should be thankful. For all, because I was led to my life and I love my life. But my subconscious mind is the 8-year-old. My subconscious mind is the one that's going, fuck you for doing this to me. Like, who the hell are
Yeah.
you?
But when he said it, it snapped me. And I mean, I really did go, oh shit. And
Yeah,
it was thank you.
right.
And I went through and thanked them. It was thanking them for all
Right.
of the amazing, not that they did anything to get me to this place except
Yeah.
abandon me, but what a gift that was. And
Okay.
the sooner
My
I,
question, my question though is, do you think you could have gotten there if you hadn't written the fuck you letters that released
probably
the,
not. I don't know. But it came in handy one time
oh,
because after I did that, when my father was still speaking to me, he was apologizing one day. And I was able, and it was shortly after this, and I was able to go, what are you apologizing to me for? Like, look at my life. Look
mhm,
at where I am and what I do and my family. Like, I have everything I need.
mhm.
You don't have anything to apologize for. So it did come in handy
Right.
because I didn't then have to tell my dad, well, fuck you.
Let me read you this letter that I haven't.
It's
Yeah,
funny,
like
funny you say
I
that.
I don't know. I just feel like my process of writing them
Uh-huh.
just feels, I don't know, therapeutic. It just feels therapeutic so that it's like I get to say all of those things that my subconscious mind is saying to me.
Yeah.
And then I get to release it because that's the process that I choose. I am ready to release this now. And then it does feel like I just heal that part of me so that I don't have those thoughts going on in the background. But again, like you said, if it doesn't resonate with you, then you shouldn't do it, you know?
And I'm like, for me, if I need to write it down, I'll write it down, but I'll burn it like
Right.
100%. But it was interesting because when, like, early on in our marriage, we were going through some stuff and, just two babies, newlywed, like, just life's hard kind of thing. And so I'm journaling about how I'm feeling. And every day, just throwing up in the book.
Yeah.
And I was kind of stuck in that pattern of whining
Yeah.
about nothing, like
Right.
just habits.
Yeah.
And then something said, read your journal.
Uh-huh.
one day. And I picked up that book and I started reading it. And I was like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? Like,
Mhm.
enough of this bullshit. You sound like a pussy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was disgusted with myself because I thought, who have you become?
Yeah.
And that snapped me out of it like that.
Okay, so here's how I would defend that. When I journal, I write it out and then I read it back. And I read it when we can read it and see from the outside looking in, you realize that you go, what the fuck? This is the shit that I'm telling myself. And it's like you can see that it's not real
Yeah.
because our subconscious mind is just like, it's just yapping. And
That's what we fill it with, though.
it's very
And
true.
what's filled, I mean, some of that was childhood
Yeah.
programming,
Yeah.
but we just got to start telling it something different.
But sometimes we don't recognize, like I'm telling you, a lot of times I don't recognize my thoughts throughout the day until I write them out. And then I go, oh, did I just write that? No wonder.
Yeah.
Like if I say, I'm never going to lose weight, this isn't going to work. Well, what do I think? Well, like, what am I doing? Right. But the thing for me is that a lot of times that's the talk track. That's the stuff that's going on in the background. And I'm not aware
You're
until I
not,
write
it's
it down.
playing back here on repeat.
Exactly. And my conscious mind knows better. My subconscious mind is it's the talk track that's going on that I'm not even, it's like background music that I don't like,
Yep.
but I can barely hear it. And
But
so
you
for me
can
to
feel it in
say,
your body is the thing.
you can feel it in your body and your body is listening in.
Yeah.
Your cells listen in to whatever you're telling yourself. And so for me to say, dear universe, this is how I'm feeling now, and just writing out all of my stuff in a couple pages, all of a sudden it's like, oh,
Mhm.
whoa, that's what I'm telling myself? Shit. Time to refocus. So it's like a therapeutic process for me to reprogram my subconscious thoughts.
Yeah.
See how I defend it? like,
But the thing is, if that's your process, that's
right.
your process, and there's nothing wrong with it.
What I think is unfortunate is when people feel stuck
Mhm.
and they are fearful or of doing a process that doesn't work for them or doing a process they're not sure and then they do nothing. Like I just think try it. Try a journal strategy, try some meditation, try some hypnosis. Like just try to reprogram what's going on in the back of your mind and see
Mhm.
how your thoughts change. Read a book or whatever. This we're back to the let them theory. Man,
Yes.
my
Yeah.
ADHD brain is like follow along. I'm all over the place. But I want to say this because I thought it was so good. So in the iPad and the Kindle app,
Yeah.
you know how you can highlight? It's amazing. So some of the things that I highlighted were like right from like page 12, 13, 14. But I want to read them because I thought they were so good
Okay.
and yet not shocking. The reality is, no matter how hard you try or what you do, you cannot control other people. And yet you live your life as if you can. You'll quickly see how you've tied your happiness to other people's behaviors, opinions, and feelings. The result, you've unknowingly sabotaged your ability to be happier, healthier, and get what you want.
Hmm.
I just love that so much. And again, not shocking.
Not shocking, but so nice to hear.
So nice to hear, right? And
And
so,
once you can let that go
mhm,
and stop requiring things to be this certain way,
yeah,
in order, well, I'm not going to be happy unless, well,
exactly. Exactly. The other one that she said on page 17 was the problem isn't you. The problem is the power you unknowingly give to other people.
hmm.
And I thought, oh, yeah, another one, so good.
Yeah.
If you go back to your client who's like, look at how much power she allowed the quote unquote stupid people at her job, the stupid people that were driving, like, look at how much power she gave away
He gives it
to all
away.
of those
Yeah.
people that she doesn't have control over.
Yeah.
She can't make them smarter. She can't make them drive better. She
But
can't make,
our attention to bad drivers brings more bad drivers. I know Paul and I were driving down the toll road and keep getting like cut off. And the first car startled us, and the second car kind of annoyed us. And
yeah.
the third car made us laugh because we went, oh my God, it's us. We are the common denominator in this thing. And
Yeah.
then we just laughed, and then we didn't have anyone else cut us off the rest of the trip. But when we can recognize, oh, it's not them, it's me,
Right.
my attention to them,
Yeah,
it is the problem.
exactly.
But on that
Well,
note, I'm pretty
we
sure.
gotta go.
So
Oh,
thank you so much, Sandra. This is good.
mhm.
And thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next Thursday on the Happy Half Hour. Bye.
Bye.